One of the best ways to tap into abundance is to start giving. And to give before you're ready to give. And I'm saying this because I had to learn this the hard way. Back when I'm struggling and I'm in poverty, but I'm going to every free lecture I can, and I'm reading books from the library, and I'm doing my best to work on myself, everybody's talking about giving. Give more and the universe will return. It'll spill over. It'll give you 10 times more. And I'm like, yeah, right. I'll give more when I've got more to give. And I would be stubborn like that until I realized, and again through a lot of the books and my self-exploration of beliefs, that as long as I held back, I was coming from that scarcity mindset. I had to. Why would I not give unless I am believing there isn't enough? There isn't enough for me, there isn't enough in the universe, there isn't enough that it's going to come back. That I somehow thought that the abundance was a lie. And as long as I lived from that, guess what? I was in scarcity. I was broke. So when I started to, and reluctantly and skeptically, start to give more, at first a little bit of money, then I would give some of the other things that I had that were extra, whether it was books or some clothes or something like that. I would notice, first of all, I felt good, which was a big thing in itself because then my energy starts going up. I can see more abundance in the world because I'm starting to practice abundance on a small level. But then the other thing that happens, and this is the punchline, it kind of wallops you, is that more comes in, more money comes in, more of whatever I was giving would come in. And as I further looked at this, I realized that the universe will give through the window you create by giving. So in other words, the more I give, the window to receive enlarges. If I only give a little bit, I've left a little tiny hole for the universe to squeak in a few things to me. But if I give more, more comes in. In the early days when I started to buy guitars, I actually gave away a few guitars. I would play them for a while and I'd find somebody who really likes it and seemed like they would be really happy having it. And I would just say, here you go. Well, today I have a pretty gigantic guitar collection. And I think part of it is because I've given away guitars. I've given away cars. Well, I have a car collection at this point. So giving leads to receiving, but you've got to start even when you're not ready to. You have to start before you're ready. You have to start giving before you're ready to give, to start receiving. There are people who say, what do I do or what do I give if I don't have any money to give? I got to tell you, I practice a tough love from time to time when I get right in your face and I go, you're lying. You are lying. You're lying to me, but you're more importantly lying to yourself. Self-deception is all over the place. Self-sabotage is all over the place. You have money. You may want more money. You may desire more money. You may need more money, but you have some money. You have to take a small percentage of what you already have, even when it's uncomfortable, and you have to give it away. And I want to make sure I explain this. The rule of thumb is to give 10%. I say you give a percentage that feels comfortable for you. It should stretch you a little bit, but make sure it feels comfortable. You shouldn't be in debt. You don't want to go on the streets, but you probably have some money. We want to give away a little bit of it. Where do you give the money away? This is the second part of this whole notion. You give it away to where, I'm sorry, a little side humor like that is just going to derail me completely. He's basically saying giving it to him. So the question is, where do you give your money away? And I say, you stop and you ask yourself, where have you been inspired or nourished recently? In the old days, they would say, give it to a church, give it to a priest, give it to a minister, which is okay, that might be the case. But you want to look in your life and say, who inspired me? What inspired me? Who or what inspired you is where you want to give that money, because you're reinforcing the spirituality that came to you through that person or thing or organization, whatever it happens to be. So you don't give mindlessly or automatically to some organization because they said to. You look inside your heart and say, what inspired me recently? Where was I nurtured recently? Where did I feel good about myself recently? And you give your 10% there. And you give when it feels uncomfortable. If, for example, you are totally penniless, which is hard to imagine, because even when I was homeless, I would manage to come up with $5. I'd manage to come up with something. And it's worth saying that when I come up with that $5, I gave away 50 cents. I started doing it then when you would think that $5 and that's all you've got, you better hold on to every penny. No, not when you start to come from the abundant mindset. If you're really living in this abundant reality and you realize that and you have $5, then you know that's the doorway to more money. You give 10% of that to wherever you're being inspired. There's nothing wrong with giving your service, your time, your energy, your labor to help a cause. But my precaution there is that it's very easy to deceive yourself in saying, I don't need to give any money because I helped build the house last week. I don't need to give any money because I gave that person a shirt. I don't need to give any money because I helped the neighbor wash a car. You're deceiving yourself. That does count. That is caring, that is loving, that is taking care of other people. But you need to give money to receive money from the abundance mindset reality.